when I saw this movie was going to be a Stephen King movie, I was going, okay. So Stephen King, like Roald Dahl, are people you have to realize that they may do something scary or special Roald Dahl for grown-ups. I absolutely And Stephen King can be a very mixed bag. So when I saw this was going to be a Stephen King movie, I was going, okay. But it's got Tom Hiddleston in it, and so yeah, and the actors nowadays, they don't do so many projects, especially for the film. You get maybe, if you're lucky, one film a year, but no, not every year, and don't expect it every year. And so I'm happy to go and see a movie with Tom Hiddleston in it, and just go to it sight unseen, basically, which is exactly what I did. But then I saw the Stephen King and went, okay, that could be interesting. And I needn't have worried, because yes, Stephen King is actually a really, really good writer. Let me make that clear. It's just that his style or his choices of subject is not always what I want to see. And it can be horror, and it can be... I do like sci-fi, but I don't like horror. And he also does something with people. It's always about people in whatever situation. And I do like that. So on the whole, I do like him, except I don't like his horror stuff. So... I had no idea what to expect of this movie, which I think is actually the best way to watch this, because it just happens all over you. And I'm going to keep this review as such short, because I don't want to go tell you any of the story, because that would be spoilerish all over. This movie, and the story and the way it's presented, reminded me almost instantly of the old Twilight Zone episodes. The mid-Twilight, not the old ones, but the ones from the 1980s, which me and the Peanut Gallery watched almost religiously. And it has the same vibe, a certain amount of Americana. It's set in Nevada, I think they say it. Actually, where they recorded it in Alabama, but when me and the Peanut Gallery went to California, it looked like California, so Southern California, which Nevada should look like, similar to Southern California, because it's next door to each other. And I think Alabama is a little bit further down, so they're not too far off. The sun and the architecture, and they're in like a little main street, and a scene happens there. Very Americana. Also, the events are very Americana, so the whole vibe is there. The choice of doing... It's a short story by Stephen King, and picked by the director, who did also wrote the script, and made all the stylistic choices of how to come from this interesting semi-sci-fi story to an interesting semi-sci-fi film. And I did check the story as written by Stephen King. I didn't read the story, but I read the synopsis, and it's exactly, the film is exactly the story. I don't think they made any changes. Not anything significant. Other stuff that you need to do to make a written thing into a film. But no actual changes. So, faithful adaptation of this short story by Stephen King. Stephen King writes about people. This is about people. About Chuck. It is the life of Chuck. The title is actually accurate. And first you think, hey, what? The title is absolutely 100% accurate, without giving you a spoiler. That's accurate. About Chuck and some people around him. Chuck played by Tom Hiddleston, of course. But there's also more of his life, so they will have a young version of him, which is an actor, and an even younger version of him, which is another actor, and an even younger version of him is another actor. All these three actors, the very youngest one has like one scene, 1.5 scene, but the the 12-year-old has quite a bit of scenes, really well done, and the 17-year-old has some really good scenes. Very nice. Everybody was so good. We have Tom Hiddleston, Chuck, and then we have Karen Gillan, whose name people do know as Doctor Who's Amy Pond, as the not redhead, because there is also a redhead. The dancing redhead is somebody else, and I think they had Karen Gillan change her hair to something dark because of the dancing redhead, who has also gorgeous hair. They're both gorgeous ladies, and wonderful. Then the chap that comes with the Karen Gillan character. Her character is called Felicia, and the man is Marty. Everybody gets a lot of space in this movie. It is kind of an impression movie with a Twilight Zone style story. And I think it was wonderful. Without going into the story itself, there was one mistake, I think, in the story. And it's... Writers don't know how to count. It is... there's a reference point where people are watching Carl Sagan's... Oh God, Carl Sagan Cosmos on TV as it came on TV. And I and Peanut gotta remember when that was, which is absolutely 1980 or 1981. No other time. It's absolutely then. 1980, Carl Sagan on television, Cosmos, explaining that sequence, and I think that's everybody knows that sequence if you're no Carl Sagan at all, where he talks about the lifetime of the universe in the form of a calendar. And so they make two mistakes here. One, he explains that the universe is born on January 1st, on the first second of the first day, and we come to our civilization like right in the last like we're stopped being hunter-gatherers like 10 seconds before midnight of December 31st, which is that is the thing they sort of cut off, that because that is the now point, and the now point would start moving from 1980 to 2025, which is now another 45 years. And I think that Stephen King made a leap in his mind to put an end date there as the now, and it, without spoiling, I think that was one mistake. The other mistake is 1980. So you have this point where it came out in 1980, and yes, there would have been repeats in the States, not in the Netherlands. It was on once, and that is it, because that is how it worked. They're better about it now, but it worked that way. But as presented in the movie, they are watching the actual live transmission of the night, and not a repeat in the day. So, this is 1980. But for reasons of... the events of now are 30, at least 39 years from that point. Which, of course, is already wrong. But it's already wrong because that's not that start point of that count. Without giving away too much information. So they're off by at least 10 to 15 years. And so I did look up how old is this story. And the story is only 5 years old. So people just can't count. If they had just moved back one set of dates or moved up the other set of dates, I think there was no reason not to. For ages, you can... Tom Hiddleston can be older or younger, whichever you need him to be. You know? I think that's the only mistake they made. The film flows beautifully. It's a bit of Americana. At first you you get a what the fuck, which is a good what the fuck. And at the end, they sort of leave the conclusion kind open. You can interpret it this way or that way. I have my personal interpretation, but since it's not a spoiler review, I'm going to keep that one to myself. I highly recommend this, but it is not a happy movie. I do not go here if you're depressed. It's not that kind of movie. I loved it. Everybody was wonderful. The cast so wonderful. I hope I can find a few pictures. I did see there were a bunch of pre-production pictures, because this thing was in the middle of the pandemic, and also there was a strike, and so they were back and forth. I did know about this project for a long time because Tom Hiddleston, but when is it going to come out? How is it going? I didn't want to know what it was about. I just wanted to know when was it going to be seeable. And they left us waiting for about 1.5 years for this one. So I think that's kind of normal for modern film productions. Every time I look this stuff up, it is like they've been in pre-production up to 15 years sometimes, before you get to a point where you actually start filming, and then before you decide to film, and then it's another 3 years before you actually have something in the can. And it's all very expensive. The upside of that is that the production is absolutely flawless. Absolutely flawless. There's no... everything looks good. All the acting is wonderful. Everything is so good. And that's what money can buy, and time can buy. So I recommend this movie. Enjoy it. They didn't make enough advertising for it, I think, because I nearly missed it here in the cinema. It's a thing here that stuff is not always advertised in the way it should be. But I was looking for it, so I kept looking, and then, it's now playing. Oh, we're going to go tomorrow. Because, And more advertising, it deserves it. I hope it goes on streaming, but it is a sit-down movie. Start at the beginning and don't leave until the end kind of movie. It's not a let's go also do the laundry kind of movie. Even though it's not an action flick or anything like that. I enjoyed it very much, but I think it's actually more of an art house movie than a glitzy main movie. We were also in the smallest little cinema part of our in room 7 instead of, usually we go 5, but we were in 7, which is really tiny. It's cozy and tiny, but it's a cozy and tiny kind of movie. Very enjoyable. I do recommend. And that is my opinion. And I'm sticking to it.